assault and batteries, but my trunk stay ever ready. Assault and battery, if you scared, you never ready.
Take number 3. Let's see. We are talking about... Miguel, you good?
Yeah, I'm finally good.
All right, so WrestleMania 27. My first trip, Luke's first real trip, Miguel's first trip, no?
Real trip, second.
Second. And Steve's first real trip.
Houston was the first one.
How was it? Like, I think back and I'm like, okay, for me, it was a very last minute thing. Remember being on Skype with you guys? Remember me, Miguel, and Steve?
No, that's not true. We planned this way out.
No, I didn't. Buddy, I remember like it was yesterday. You guys were talking about your being plans, and I'm just like, can I join? You guys like, yeah, sure.
No. It was months in advance, right?
Not true.
Really?
Wave this off. Yeah, wave this off. Okay, this is what happened. I knew I was going to go to WrestleMania in Atlanta. I wanted to go to my hometown. I had a friend's couch I was going to sleep on. I was going to be set. We were going to be ready to go. I wanted Miguel to come with me because I was like, that would be a cool trip. Me and Miguel. I'll be honest, Ravi. You were in a couple calls with me, but I didn't know.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That trip made us friends. But I mean, I was trying to get Miguel to go, and Miguel had given me a hard no. So for me, what started off was ROH put their tickets on sale. And I came into a call that night, and I said that I bought my ROH tickets for Atlanta. I bought night 1. I bought night 2. That's why we didn't sit together at that show. But in that call, you had asked me, would it be weird if you came? And that's how bad you wanted to go to WrestleMania. And I was like, if you want to go, we'll make it work. Well, let's do this. And then because you got in, that's when Miguel got in, and then that's when Luke got in. That's what got the whole thing kicked off down the road.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I remember it was like October when we were talking about it. But, like, I never had any plans of going at all. Sure, it came in my mind here and there, but I never thought, at the end of WrestleMania 26 that, I want to go to 27. I just remember some random October. I'm like, I remember being on the call with you guys and asked you. I remember you had bought your tickets. And I remember I went with Jay to the mall and to a travel agent. I don't even know why the hell I went to a travel agent.
Oh, that's what I was going to talk about next.
I was thinking, like, why the hell did I go to a travel agent?
That's how you know the first time. Because he had someone else book his trip for him.
And I remember because it was cheaper for us to go for me and all of us actually, to Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah.
So I told the lady, she's like, where are you going? And I'm like, I'm going to Atlanta, but I have to go to Birmingham. And she's like, no, you can just go direct. Atlanta's the biggest airport. And I told her, no, we have plans here. We're going to drive over. So that was how that started. And let me tell you something. Going to that trip, how about you, Luke? I don't remember, like, you stayed by yourself. Yours was a whole... I feel like you just came along because you were pressured to, because we were all going.
Yeah, I have no memory of how I got involved with this trip. I really don't know how it all came about. I just know that we kind of made plans together of like which hotel. I remember the Birmingham stuff, but to put it into perspective, not to sidetrack too quickly though, but before I forget, I am now the same age as Steve was on that trip.
No.
I'm 29 years old.
Really?
He was 29 years old.
Holy smokes, I didn't even know.
So
that's what I was going to say. This is the 10-year... I know I mentioned in the first take, but like this is 10 years since the trip.
Yeah,
March, April 2011, yeah.
Yeah,
I talked you into going, by the way, Luke.
20, yeah.
Did you?
Yeah. We were DMing during that call, and you were asking me some things, and I was trying to answer them the best way I could, because I'd never been to Atlanta either, but I was just basically telling you, just go with it, we're going to be in a group, you'll be all right.
Oh.
And that was the first time for me actually traveling by myself, like on an airplane. The last time I went on a plane was 3 years earlier. But I was freaking out, and that was one of those things. I was like, so it was my first time going on a wrestling trip, like meeting people from the internet, traveling to the States, traveling alone, and then on top of that, it was WrestleMania. So like just a whole new experience for me in general. And the first, what can go wrong? I walk into the airport. I remember you guys remember that big little trolley I had.
Yeah.
I walk into that, packed to the rim with figures, everything, and I was a heavy traveler back then. And first thing I see is a border service officer. Hey pal, where you going? Oh, I'm going to WrestleMania. He's like, how long are you going for? And I like 4 days. And he could tell my thing was packed to the top. He's like, let me talk to you for a second. Takes me into the room, questions me a little bit. And I'm like, what else can go wrong? A brown guy in the airport going to Atlanta. Hey, it's it. Yeah, exactly. So he's like, do you mind if I open your bag? I'm like, yeah, go for it. He opened it and he sees like figures of who was it, Sergeant Slaughter, Triple H, and like everything. He's like, oh, you're actually going to like a wrestling thing. I'm like, yeah, it's like WrestleMania. And then thankfully he was a fan. He saw the Goldust figure and the Dusty Rhodes one. I remember that popped up, the Dusty Rhodes
Of all figures.
Yeah. He's like, oh, American Dream. I love him. I'm like, yeah, Polka Dots guy. I'm like, yeah, that's him.
Polka Dots guy.
Okay, seriously? And how was your guys' flight? I know with me, I tried reading a book. It was like I was too excited, just knowing that the weekend was gonna be something to like remember forever.
Me and Luke, we met in Vegas, and that's when we played the slot machines, and we won, and we went fucking ecstatic. We made so much fucking noise. We didn't even know how much money we won. We won $4, and we almost missed our flight because we were like ecstatic. We were yelling, we were screaming. Then we had to go cash in our ticket, and after that, like they called as we're cashing in the ticket, they call both of our names on the loudspeaker that they're looking for us. And then we find out they've already boarded the plane. Everybody's on it, and they're only waiting for us. And once we get on, people recognize that we're the ones making all the noise, and they're like, how much money did you win? And I'm just like, they're already waiting on us. I don't want to say nothing. And Luke's like, oh, he won $4. He won $4. And I
said it.
You're under the bus.
The whole plane is like, we had to fucking wait for fucking $4 over here.
You should have lied.
We doubled our profit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. What about you?
Huh?
I flew straight to Atlanta.
Oh yeah, we picked you up last.
Yeah,
that's when we met. That's when we met Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, he was shooting. He was telling me how the boys in the back were mad about Dwayne taking up the spot at WrestleMania.
Did you end up getting a picture with him? I don't remember.
Yeah, I did.
You did.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, he was waiting for a friend or a family member, and yeah, he was just very cool. He didn't hesitate to say yes. Yeah,
I remember that was the reality thing. I'm like, man, we're at WrestleMania. Like Miguel's meeting people at the airport, and we haven't even met yet. So it was like one of those weekends you knew good things were gonna come.
You imagine if these two guys like they actually would have missed their flight, and then you would have been stuck in Birmingham for God knows how long.
Honestly, when I tell people I've been to Birmingham, they look at me like, why the hell would you go to Birmingham, Alabama? I'm like, it was cheaper for me to fly to it. It was like one of those things.
Was it really cheaper for you to buy your ticket? I know for me, it was substantially cheaper. I looked at it as like, I'm going to fly to Birmingham. I think it was like the flight was like $200, maybe $250 at the most cheaper. That's the money that I used to rent the car. And that's how I sort of covered that chart. Yeah.
I know it wasn't that much.
He almost broke that Kia.
Seriously. I know it wasn't that much cheaper, but at that point, like, I think I didn't really care. I was like, take it, just get me over there. And I didn't want to be that guy like, Miguel, who didn't want to fly into Atlanta, so we had to go meet him.
No,
we couldn't have all met at one place, we had
he
to
wanted to make sure he got all of the, he wanted to get all the experience so he can go back home and say, I was able to go to Alabama.
I went to Birmingham, Alabama. That's literally... And but for me, the one thing, and I was telling you guys earlier, was the Pizza Hut and Monday Night Wars. That became the gimmick for so long that when you go to the airport, you got to get Pizza Hut, you got to watch Monday Night Wars. But no, the flight was good, and then I've finally meeting you guys. That was like, it was so weird. Like, especially I remember Steve, like, was staring at me like I was a ghost, and I remember I said it in the video too, because he's like, bro, I'm like, you're staring at me like I'm like a thing. And I remember everyone was a lot smaller in person. Like, everyone's sitting down, you think they're going to be like a monster. But I remember it was a little bit awkward at first, just to kind of break that shell. Like, we've been talking for so long. But then when it actually came down to seeing you guys. I think I was a little bit like shy at first, but it took 2-3 jokes, and you can see literally the first encounter because I was filming as I was meeting you guys, and you can kind of tell by everyone's body language. It was like, oh, like this is like real now. But I think
that happened to me and Miguel. It was a SummerSlam trip, but Miguel picked me up at my hotel, and we literally drove down the road, and we didn't say a word to each other for at least 10 minutes, and it felt like an hour. I didn't want to say something first. I don't think he wanted to say something first, so we just sat there, and it just was quiet. And then like once the first person said something, then it was like how we talk every night on Skype. But that first like, oh, he's real. That was really weird.
That's what I'm saying. And it was like I could kind of tell the difference from when I met you guys at the airport, like inside the terminal, to the time we got to the Kia. It was like our moods were like totally changed, where it's like the ice is broken and now let's just go and have fun. And that's when I'm like, damn. And I feel like once that happens, you kind of know what to deal with it. Because I never had that experience with Tommy and Mike in Chicago, even Ryan Falcone. It was kind of like you already know that this is how you have to act, or this is how you have to be. It's weird at first, but you guys get used to it. Because how many people can really say that they meant their internet friends and go on trips with them? It's one of those things. You remember Miguel when he came to Canada? We told the officer when we were crossing the border. He's like, "How'd you guys meet?"
Yeah.
Miguel's like, "You really want to know?" And the guy's like, "Yeah." He's like, "We met online." And it's just one of those things. Like, oh, okay. So
oh, Jesus, got a couple homosexuals here.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
The thing that makes me think about like day one of WrestleMania 27 was going to that bar. And I remember it's almost every WrestleMania. We always talk about, oh, we're going to go, we're going to drink, we're going to have some fun. And when I met,
do that.
I know. So I was legal age is 20. The legal age was 21. It was April.
Mm-hmm.
I was turning 21 in July. I had a fake ID.
Close enough.
Got some nail polish remover, turned that 1990 to 1988. And it was great. But the thing was, it was raining. And my pants got wet, which kind of seeped through into my wallet, which made the marker come off. And Paz, he was down to drink. I remember the first beer I got away with. Me and him went to the bar, and he ordered one. I ordered a Canadian because I didn't know any other beer. So now we got a table, and I ordered another one. And the lady, I guess she was a little bit suspicious. She calls the manager over, and he just randomly comes in, "Hey guys, we're just doing a spot check." And that's when I knew we were screwed. I was like, at this point, do I give him my real ID and just act like I don't know what the hell she's talking about, or do I give him the fake one? And looking back, I would have given him my real one and just act stupid, like, buddy, this is, the legal age is 18 or 19 where I am. And but I gave him the fake one, and he's like, "Oh, this looks fake." Like, buddy, I'm from Canada. What do you mean it looks fake? This is what it is. But he didn't buy it, so he said he's not serving me alcohol. I didn't think he served any of us alcohol. Maybe just Paz. I don't think anyone drank that.
Yeah,
Well, Paz had like a few before we even got seated, so I think by that point they already knew he was good.
Yeah,
like ID wise.
And then so we all got water, and I remember it was good, but I think that kind of killed my mood because one, I was scared. I'm like, buddy, I'm in a different country using a fake ID. This is not a good idea. And I remember Luke was scared too. He's like, buddy, you're gonna get us all kicked out. If we get kicked out, we're dead. We're gonna go to jail.
Yeah.
And Luke's always the worrying Wendy, everything he worries about. But that I remember, it was like my heart was a little on edge. I was on edge that whole thing, because if they were to do something about it, but the brown guy's gonna get in trouble in Atlanta.
I felt secondhand
Which
embarrassment during that. I remember that fucking guy coming over there going like, I'm like, fuck, you got caught. I knew it. That was bad.
Since then, I haven't used a fake ID. I feel like I still have it somewhere, and I feel like that should go in like the Assault and Battery Hall of Fame, along with the.
That should go next to the Benoit rock.
That too, yeah. That was day one. Anything else you remember from the first day that we didn't talk about?
We did drink later that night, or no, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
Wasn't that when we couldn't find booze because they closed everything early over there?
Day two. What were you saying?
It was the introduction to 30-second themes. That was the first time we introduced to that.
That was on the way to Atlanta, I think. No, or was that we were all together?
We're all together. I got it up.
We're rolling down the freeway.
But honestly, that's the best way to do it. You get hyped, and then it just goes right to the next song. Sometimes you have a song. Day 2, I'll never forget 2 things. One is when we went to the arcade, and the famous video of who pulled it, Miguel's lucky hand.
Yeah.
hit the jackpot. 800 tickets or 600.
Something like that.
I think it was 800. And the fact that we got that on video, and that was like a legit pop. Like I haven't popped like that, like raw emotion, just getting it in that hole. That's what the hole was there. Just everyone was happy and jumping. And what did we end up getting? Like I think we got like a little toy out of it anyway. Still, but
I think we got stuff for Jade. I think I don't think we got
I remember
anything.
But man, that was crazy time. The arcade. I looking back on it, was crazy. We had 2 full days without doing no WWE stuff because the second day was more ROH. We had an ROH show, so there was literally, we went to the mall, we went to the arcade, and then we went to ROH.
Oh, don't worry, we made up for it the next day after that.
Buddy, don't. I have no sleep. Rid of it.
What's the other thing you remember about Friday before you forget?
ROH. About ROH.
You're not gonna mention how we both
Shelton Benjamin.
No, how you and I both slept in and Breach watched the same highlights on SportsCenter for like 4 hours.
No, I don't remember.
He was waiting for us to wake up.
You guys slept forever, and there was like that on SportsCenter, like where they do the Make-A-Wish thing, and I was like, I'm tired of watching this shit and crying. Like, you all gotta get up. Let's go.
Oh, true.
I started kicking the bed. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm leaving.
We woke up close to noon, if I remember.
Yeah,
correctly.
I remember it was around noon. See, Luke didn't have to worry about that because he had his spankatorium down the hall.
Yeah, getting woken up to the creepy Razor Ramon Super Nintendo theme.
Was that 27? I feel it was 28.
Yeah,
it was 27.
God, it's so creepy. That shit went off at night. Like, it was just all dark, and somebody called him. I don't even know who the fuck would call him so late. Dun, 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 dun. I was like, what the fuck?
I haven't thought of that in 10 years.
So, Luke, since we're 10 years later, what was and don't say because of the space. Why did you want your own room? Why did you not want to spend 3 days with your best pals?
Even as a kid, it was just, I rarely spent the night at a friend's house because it was just always weird to me. I don't know. I like my privacy, and I can stay with people now. As I got older, I'm fine with it. We can all stay in a room, and I'd be fine with it today. But I was just younger. I was 19, and I just wanted my own space. I had my own kitchen, for fuck's sake. It was awesome.
You did? Did you cook anything on it?
But did you use it?
Yeah.
No, I used the fridge, and Steve used the fridge too.
I forgot about the fridge, the Subway sandwich that you still talk about to this day.
I still think about it. Like,
you want to go ahead and tell us?
Like, yo. Basically, we went to the Subway. I knew that was going to be the cheapest meal that we got for a while, so it was the $5 footlong. We got, I got 2 of the footlong cold cut Cheerios. I ate one, and then I was like, I'll eat another one, like, as we're packing and like getting ready to leave. So I put it in the fridge. But then we went to Waffle House that night. And then the next morning when we woke up to get ready to leave to drive to the airport, I honestly probably would have ate it if I remembered it. But we forgot it. And it just, I think about it all the damn time. Like, it's just,
who eats a
sub
like, for breakfast?
Have you seen Steve eat? He eats anything?
Go in there. I'll eat it all, man. I got
some
beef right here.
I remember WrestleMania 31, all that pizza we had, and I know this is a little off topic, but this guy, the pizza was definitely like over, it was sitting out and there was meat on it, and this guy, I don't care, he ate it, so he breakfast and lunch. I was like, buddy, you're gonna die? You didn't care.
Already paid for.
That's what I know. Steve doesn't care.
My favorite part when Steve does something like that, he always goes to like an explanation to see if we're just like, by the time he's finished explaining, to see we're just like, oh, okay, well, I can see where you're coming from.
Makes sense.
I remember he said something like, oh, what are you talking about? It's got preservatives and this, and I was like, okay.
I remember we went to Costco. I feel like that was the second day as well. The beginning of the day we went to Costco and then the mall, right? And I'm pretty sure that's when I remember Luke with his Welch's grapes. I don't know why that randomly came up. He was eating Welch's grapes while we were eating the Costco pizza or hot dog.
That had to have cost more than what we
That's what I'm
bought
saying.
because he got his thing from the vending machine.
I was like such a picky eater when I was a kid, and even into my late teens, as you can tell from back then. I don't
Pizza
know.
and hot dogs? You don't
I
like
don't
pizza
know.
and hot dogs?
I'm a totally different person. I was texting Ravi the other day. I was like, I hate 19-year-old me so much. I was a really immature and just weird and.
I hated your shoes.
What?
My shoes?
Those black ones? Yeah, those black ones.
What? They're all black. What's wrong with them?
I don't know. They look like dad's shoes.
I was a dad shoe kid. I mean, pretty much all through my childhood.
I remember one of the first things Ravi said was that he was wearing white socks with black shoes.
Yeah. See, I didn't know shit about nothing. You know, I didn't.
But honestly, looking back, I was looking at what I was wearing. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with me?
I complimented you on your. I was like, red Ferrari shoes are a Puma. Yeah.
Right, with my matching like it was a Spain like track jacket, and then I had my Ed Hardy phase. I was like, wow, look at me. I had my Prada glasses with my slits to my head.
Your flip camera was a customized Ed Hardy skin.
Ed Hardy. We all had flip cams, I think, except Luke. Right?
Yeah.
That was like the flip cam phase.
I was behind the times and everything. I was just.
I know.
Yeah. Thanks.
Day 2, I feel like I was saying, the thing that ruined it for me was ROH. The show was great. Night 1, I remember we had a blast. Center stage. I remember that is still one of my favorite shows I've ever been to. The card was good.
My favorite venue.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the venue was amazing, and the crowd was crazy, and it was the first show, I guess, of that we've been to, like, for WrestleMania. And everything was good. I remember Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas faced World's Greatest Tag Team. Did they win? That was the first night or second night?
No,
they won. They won. Yeah, they beat the Kings of Wrestling for the title, and then night two, they won. They faced Davey Richards, the Wolves, the American Wolves. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because the next night the Kings opened up against Future Shock.
Right.
I remember that.
So I remember after the show, this is what you do. And I was like, I got all, Jay and Mark, they love me. They know Ravi. They know Ravi from Toronto. So I was watching the video back. I remember I got a video with Mark. Yeah, Solid Battery, man, whatever, just talking. But the thing I won't forget is when Shelton was driving out of the building, I had my figure in my hand. Everyone, Shelton's there. Remember, he's bumper to bumper. They're trying to get out of the garage. And he's right in front of me. And I have my figure in my hand, big smile on my face, like this is my favorite wrestler. And everyone was saying it too, like, yo, you're his favorite wrestler, whatever. And I remember I stepped close to him, and this guy accelerated, almost running over my damn foot. My heart shattered, and to this day, that's what started the whole beef with World's Greatest Tag Team versus YouTube's Greatest Tag Team. That was like the foundation. That's where it all started.
Well, in that same parking garage, that's where Steve chased the Kings of Wrestling, I think, or at least
it is.
I'll tell you the truth.
Is.
When I met them, though, they were the nicest guys I ever met in the whole world. They were like,
Chris
"Oh
Hero.
man, yeah, didn't hear you coming."
Chris Hero always had that rep of being an asshole, and I remember Miguel said, I have the video of Steve running down the
he's just going down.
It was like half walking, half running. And Miguel's like, bro, Hero's gonna kill him. I remember Miguel saying that, and then when he came back with an autograph and a big smile on his face and not like a broken jaw,
couldn't believe it.
It worked.
You want to know what I remember about post ROH was the fact that CM Punk and Daniel Bryan tried to sneak out of center stage without people seeing them, and they got in a cab, and of course everybody flocked the cab.
It's news to me.
I forgot.
Wow.
Cabana was out there like telling everybody to listen to his podcast.
Yeah, well, they were waiting for somebody else that was inside the venue. So he was like, Brian and Punk were in the back seat, and Punk was the only one. He had a hoodie. He was covering his whole head, and Cabana had the door open in the van. The cab was a van, and he was just like bullshitting with people asking, "Are you going to be at Mania with them?" But he's just like, yeah. Like he's waiting for someone else, and that person gets there. I forget who it was, and they told the guy.
It was Generico, yeah.
Just floor it because they just took off fast.
It was Generico they were waiting for.
Oh, Generico, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
all right, Steve's on intermission. So that any things you remember? I remember Luke was marking out over World's Greatest Tag Team. I know me and you were like really happy to see them. We were sitting beside each other during that show.
That was the first time I saw them live since No Way Out 04, and they won the tag titles right in front of us. I was like,
Crazy, right?
It was
And they
awesome.
came out to TNT by AC/DC, which was even more cool. I
Yeah.
was loving it.
I remember that.
Yeah. But so
And
how about
then-
after? Oh,
And then Steve got an email about the dress code.
exactly. That's what we're talking about.
And that's where this whole weekend just took a turn for the
Okay.
worst.
Right.
All right. I'll take it. I got the email. I also saw that a lot of the news sites were reporting on the email. Does anybody? I don't care if you do, but does anybody blame me for that? Like, was there? I remember that
No.
there was like a legitimate fear, like we weren't going to be able to go to the King, to the Hall of Fame. They were just going to like, I'm sorry, you can't come in. That's
So
the
they
way
invited-
I
No,
read it.
no. At least for me, I can't speak for Ravi and Luke, but I never blamed you. The thing was just you got it. Like either way,
Yeah.
I'd rather have gone in there overdressed because technically we ended up going overdressed than to show up and then being turned away and then being like, well, why didn't you tell us, Steve? So I'd rather you tell us than to be surprised and then not be let inside.
I remember on the email, I remember even during 28 Hall of Fame, it said like they are going to be like strictly enforcing it. So it was one of those things where when we packed, all of us made sure to pack, dress shirt, the whole nine. And do you remember? I guess we'll talk about the Hall of Fame when the day comes. But so we went to Waffle House first. We went to eat something. That was my first time going to Waffle House.
Me
And
too.
Same.
I'll never forget. I'll put it over IHOP. I'll put it over Denny's. That's the spot to go. I loved it. I don't know what it is. I think it was just the griminess of it, but it was something special.
Scattered, covered, and smothered.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And what place is open 24 hours like that? Besides like McDonald's, it's definitely, if you're in like the South area and you haven't gone to Waffle House, that's like one of the things you have to do.
Did you even go to the South if you didn't go to the Waffle House?
Exactly.
CM Punk made you.
Oh, God.
Oh, you had that, Steve. You had the Waffle House Shooters shirt there.
Yeah.
No, it was next year. It was next year.
No, it was that year.
No,
That
it was
the
that
only
year.
It
year
was
we
that
were-
year?
Yeah, it was that year. Yeah.
Oh,
I think you
I
wore
remember
it.
you wore it
purpose.
next year.
Yeah, Molly made it for me.
So the next year he wore it to when he met Matt Hardy, and then and then he
Oh,
actually
yeah.
That's what I was thinking of.
I did wear it for the picture with him, but it was Ravi who like, hey, you see the shirt? That pointed it out to him. I thought that was kind of gutsy. I just wanted to have it on in the picture. Ravi made sure that
I'm
he
like,
knew.
yeah, look at this.
I was so embarrassed. Like, Matt, don't look at that.
Do you remember what time we went to Walmart after we went to the Waffle House?
Oh, it was at least 2,
2.
maybe even later.
Yeah, it was 2 a.m. and I remember I bought a pair of pants, and on the hook it said it was waist size 34. And when I came back to the room, I looked and it was actually a 30. I don't think I didn't find any dress shirts. I don't know why. I feel like we didn't look hard enough. Like, how can you go to Walmart and them not have any dress shirts or dress pants? Because I don't think anyone bought any. Like, we didn't have any of it.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
I had slacks and a dress shirt. That's it,
Did
though.
you? Well, I
Yeah.
don't know. I feel like that just killed it. I'm like, man, it's 2 a.m.
Yeah, I got a dress shirt too.
Did you? Well, I don't know. I don't remember buying anything. Like, I remember buying it, but it was the wrong size, and I thought none of us bought anything. Nothing.
Oh, I
It
have
could have
your
been. You
pants.
should have just wore it.
I
It could
have
have been
your
like when
pants.
Steve wore trademark shirt.
Yeah, I know Steve
have-
has my pants.
Well,
Forgot
autographed.
about that.
Autographed by all of us. Then never get rid of those, buddy.
They're in the dresser, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So
He's gonna put them on one time.
we had to get to Access at 8 a.m. That's what time the session started. Steve, and we didn't know any better. That's the thing. So like looking back on it, you can't really blame him because we all agreed to it. We thought it was a good idea. We got to Access 1 hour before it started or 2 hours. I feel like it was like an hour and a half.
it's like
It was.
3.
Yeah, it was. No, not that early, Luke.
No, it wasn't that early. We were literally the first like 5 people in line.
Because I remember we stopped at Starbucks because Paz wanted to buy coffee for him and for Claudio, And yeah, it was like 6 something when we were in downtown Atlanta.
So we got back to the room. I remember around 4, and I remember
Yeah.
Miguel and Steve. They said we're not going to sleep because there's no point in us going to sleep.
Oh no! We didn't go back to the room, dude. We didn't go back to the room. We went straight to the CNN building, and then
No.
Steve and I stayed in. Yeah, because look, Steve and I stayed in the car trying to sleep. Because I remember we just came back and everyone changed into their Hall of Fame clothes.
No.
The car.
I'm talking about the time between Walmart and Access, our first Access. After Walmart, we went back to the room.
We turned on the Celtics Hawks game because CJ sat courtside and we wanted to see if we'd be able to see him.
I remember me and Luke went to sleep for, I think it was 2 hours.
Yeah.
Couldn't be more than 2 hours. Miguel and Steve stayed awake. And because I remember Miguel saying, I feel like I'm going to be more tired if I go to sleep, so I'm just going to stay awake, pull an all-nighter. And when we went downtown, I remember there was someone, there was the lady, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a lady already walking with us. So people were showing up like a couple hours before. And my first Access, I was like freaking out. I remember I had a VIP to meet Triple H. I brought my Kane figure with me. I brought my Sergeant Slaughter figure with me. So those 3, I wanted to get signed. So they let the VIPs in first. I went and met Sergeant Slaughter. That was the first guy I met at VIP. And then luckily he came right at 8 o'clock. It wasn't late. Sometimes they run a little bit late. So it was Sergeant Slaughter, then Kane, and then Triple H. So all 3, all back to back. So I was happy. First day. I might have been tired, but I was happy.
Nice.
And who did you guys meet at Access, if you remember the first?
me and Luke ran to this one booth in the corner that nobody knew where anybody was going to be. That's just the way Access is. Well, it was back now. Now with the app, sometimes you think you know who's going to be there. And it ended up being Yoshi, Tatsu, and Goldust at a table. We were 3rd in line, so that's the reason why we didn't leave. I was mostly locking eyes with Goldust, and I didn't have the guts to leave no matter what. But I mean, that's one of the reasons why I stayed.
They weren't allowing selfies with Goldust and Yoshitatsu, and I was like, damn, So I was young and stupid, so I just went up there with my Sony Cybershot, and fucking the biggest flash went off in Goldust's face, and I have a picture. I mean, I felt years later, I'm like, that's so fucked up. It was early in the morning, and I just fucking flash him, and then I take off. Like, I had a picture of him.
I don't understand because remember when we met Christian, one of the last days of Access, the lineup was so long and they didn't let us have pictures either. So I remember
that was one of the most embarrassing moments I've ever had meeting a wrestler was with Christian at WrestleMania 27, and you took god awful pictures of me meeting him.
I know. I believe you. Trust me.
I went to shake his hand, and he had a Sharpie in his hand, and he looked at me like, are you serious kind of thing. But then, with the Sharpie in his hand, shook my hand. I'm like, this is the most fucking...
So...
All right.
Go ahead.
Hold on. Ravi. Like when you admit to a crime and there's a time period in between, it's 10 years. Is there certain shit on this trip that we can talk about that's not going to get you in trouble in your life?
Buddy, go for it.
What the hell were you doing hitting on that girl at fucking Access?
Access, baby.
You were letting people just go ahead of you in line, in that Christian line that was already 2 miles long, to keep talking to some girl that you're never going to see again. What were you doing?
I tried so hard. I'm not even going to lie. I've tried to find her on Facebook at that time because I remember I got her name. I don't know if I got her last name, but I got her name, and I knew she's from Atlanta. And I have a picture of me and her somewhere in my little memory box.
You get a boner in the bathroom? I mean, what's going on?
What do you think this is? Buddy, she wanted to talk though still. She took a picture of the belt. I pulled a Sean Blackburn. I'm like, hey, you want to take a picture of my belt? She did it. She was down. And I feel like if I would have tried a little bit harder, buddy, you guys would have been stepping outside of that Duluth hotel for about 5 minutes and 25 seconds.
Hey, and don't knock Sean Blackford because it worked. Luke took a picture with his belt.
I know he did.
Yeah, it turned into an Austin Powers. Yeah, baby, yeah. Like, yeah, Shawn Michaels. Yeah, just get naked and put it all over your groin. Yeah.
So after Access, I remember we went to eat something, whatever, and
Crystals.
that crystals, right? And then after, that's
Mhm.
when you guys went to sleep. I remember you guys slept in the car. We got dressed, and you
No.
guys.
We went
You
to
don't
ROH
remember?
I
day
don't remember
2.
saying.
Did we go to ROH day 2?
Yeah, ROH.
So when did you guys sleep? You guys
started
slept
at-
before Hall. So it was Access, ROH, then Hall of Fame.
Yes, because
Okay.
ROH started at noon that day.
Okay. So we did, yeah, okay, that makes sense. But I remember that ROH, I remember Davey Richards' thing, but I remember being dead tired. I remember the crowd chanting, "We are tired," or "We're hungover."
Something like that, yeah.
I feel like we're hungover. And not the
Mhm.
best show. Plus the show was kind of like stale as it was.
The opener was actually really good, and the main event was good, but yeah, I was just too tired. I remember I got up and I walked I think it was during a women's match, just to like wake myself up, to keep
I
myself
remember.
awake.
I remember I had a Red Bull. I got a Red Bull from the stand, the vending thing. And honestly, I don't remember anything. Like I said, I remember Miguel. I remember you going for the walk. I remember Davey Richards, but just like that's when everything kind of was going. You're at a high, and then as soon as that show started, everything just like you just crashed.
Mm-hmm.
How were you sitting with us? We were all sitting together, Luke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good show.
I wasn't with you.
You
We
were.
were. Oh, that's right. Thankfully, but you were by Kevin Kelly, and you were reading his fucking sheets.
Oh yeah, true.
You were like, What's coming up? What's a spoil?"
Luke was too scared to call him Hermie.
That's right. I said, call him Hermie. No, but I remember we were all slouched in our chairs. We were just fucking dead, like just live wrestling. The best future stars that are still in NXT were right in front of us, and we're just like,
we didn't
fucking
care. At that point, we just how much I was going off. Me and Luke, 1 hour, 2 hours of sleep. Miguel and Steve hadn't slept at all, and that was crazy. And then on top of that, what?
I was gonna say Cole and O'Reilly were on those shows. Luke was right. That's what I thought of. I couldn't believe that.
Yeah.
That was the opener, right? You were saying,
yeah.
What was the opener?
Kings and Future Shock.
And Future Shock, yeah. That's crazy.
That was their name. They actually had a name. I didn't know that.
That's where the whole. Remember, what were they saying? They were saying "shock the system." Their old name was Future Shock, and now they shocked the system. Holy smokes! And so ROH was done. I don't think we met anyone afterwards because the next clip I had in my video was us at the CNN Center getting changed for Hall of Fame. And I remember me and Luke went to Arby's and got curly fries. We want to say something, Luke. Go ahead.
You remember what happened in the CNN Center, don't you?
I feel like that was the day 5. No, that was before Raw. Yeah, I remember him. Yeah, I feel like that was before Raw.
That was Monday. That was Monday. Smart Rage? Is that his name?
What was
that was Monday. Smart Rage?
Smart Rage, yeah.
Yeah, the bail bondsman, he so I had my Sony CyberShot where it had the screen on there, and like he wanted to see all the pictures I took, and he's just like he couldn't get the fucking pictures because his sausage fingers were just smashing the screen. He couldn't get the pictures to slide. And
I have a picture of him on my computer somewhere.
Ravi,
goes like this.
And Ravi, you eventually ran off, and then he stops me and he goes, "Wait, let me show you how a chop is done." And he puts
Remember, he's like, "Oh, you want me to call Davey Richards? I have Davey Richards' number.
Yeah.
Call him now." He was like trying to show off how many numbers of wrestlers.
Yeah, he's flexing.
Yeah. So for how was Hall of Fame? It was who got inducted WrestleMania 27? Shawn Michael? No.
Yeah.
Was it Shawn Michaels? It was, right?
Oh my God.
No, it was not.
It was Shawn. And then they all came out at the end and did the hug. Yeah. Honestly, I don't remember much of that Hall of Fame.
Wow.
But for the first Hall of Fame, it was really good. I think you have to experience Hall of Fame once, and after that, I guess it's very selective if you want to see the guys get inducted. But
I went
the show's great. You went. I know some people enjoy it. Like I don't. I remember I went 27, 28, 29, 30, and I feel like 31 I stopped going.
No, 31 we went, but we were only there for like an hour.
There you go. See, that's where I get. That was where
High Spot Wrestling show is legit. That was the best thing I ever came up with for us to do.
Yeah. So anything you want to add from that? Anything about the Hall of Fame and
No, and thankfully we didn't I don't think we stayed up too late because I remember feeling pretty good the next day when we woke up for our final access session of the weekend.
And do you remember who the first person we met for that access session?
Sin Cara.
Alberto Del Rio. Oh,
Sin
shit,
Cara.
you're right.
The man hadn't debuted yet, and we were all so happy. Like, holy smokes, from meeting Sin Cara. And I remember that video clip of me meeting him was like on my intro for like years. Like, that was the first thing. Like, that's how hyped I was. Like, man, I met Sin Cara before he debuted. And that's where I remember meeting Goldust and Dusty Rhodes. And that was the same day as the Access Babe thing. We met Christian, which still to this day is the longest line I stayed in. Over 2 hours to meet Christian. Which it was incredible. I don't know. But I remember Ricky Steamboat was signing that day, and I remember they were saying that was the biggest lineup that they had. Because I remember we were, I think me and you wanted to meet him. Maybe Miguel met him, I think. You did meet him, right?
I met him.
I met him
That
2 years
that was the last guy
later.
we met. Oh, I met him right
4
before
years.
we left.
Okay. So I remember one of us met him.
I thought I was behind. No, Miguel, you met him because you got a picture of him in Japan signed. I know you did.
Wasn't
I was
The alligator. Maybe you met
Wasn't
him
that
in a
in-
different access.
Yeah, I thought I met him in San Jose.
no.
Oh no, that was Vader. I met Vader in San Jose.
We met Vader and Steamboat because I made you get in that line because you were complaining about how bad Access sucks, and I'm like, dude, this is like $80 worth of pictures here at fucking
It does
WrestleCon
suck.
tomorrow. But just get in this line. Like there's literally like 15 people in it. Let's go.
Ravi just brought up how he stood in line for over 2 hours. You're
Over
making it
2
sound like
hours.
I'm being picky.
That was for Christian Cage, a current WWF superstar. The only way you would have met him. I'm talking about the prime beef of Vader and Ricky Steamboat sitting at a table with 15 people, and you're like, line's too long.
There was more than 15 people. If there was 15 people, I would have jumped in there.
And I would like to point out that...
Hold on, let Luke talk.
Go ahead.
Oh, that's fine. My feelings aren't hurt, not really.
Oh, come on.
No, it's not important now. It's been built up too much. Go ahead.
Oh my god. Okay, so I remember the two people I wanted to meet was Goldust and Dusty Rhodes. I had both their classic superstars, and as soon as I heard that they were setting the very back, I think that was the fastest I ran to get from the first, like the front of Access all the way to the back, and that lineup filled up within 30 seconds, and it was cut off right there. And I feel like if I wouldn't have gotten that autograph, that would have ruined the whole weekend. I bought that ringside exclusive, like gold edition Goldust. Dusty Rhodes I had already. But looking back on it, like how rare is that picture getting, you know what I mean? Like they didn't do it together. I don't think. I think you could have gone two pictures together, but I got it separate. But how, I don't think they've ever signed together like that.
And do you remember who else we met who's no longer with us?
No.
Briscoe?
I think you were.
Oh,
No, you
Briscoe.
were.
No.
No, you were. How's Jack? No, you were. You and I met Chief J Strongbow together, Ravi.
Oh yeah, we did. Yes, yes we did. Yeah,
Oh.
it's true. Because I remember he died the year after.
Yeah, true.
WrestleMania 28. Yeah. Oh shit. I honestly forgot all about that. And his lineup wasn't big either. I remember because no one really knew who he was, and I remember I brought his figure just because I knew he was going to be there.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I thought he was Tatanka, so I passed.
But for the most part, I remember that Access was like a lot of waiting in line, and that was like the rude awakening to like you have to be like mentally prepared, because we've seen guys pass out, from standing in lines. They've had like just a lot of bad things happen because people go there, they don't eat anything, they're standing for 2 hours at a time, and it's just a bad.
You never even went to LA. That happens like all the time when it was in LA, because you're in the heat, you're outside. You get drinking fluid.
It was way better though. You got to meet a lot more people at the SummerSlam Access.
I heard a lot of good things about SummerSlam Access, but looking
you
back
know
on it now,
what?
like in the one day, it was Christian. I think we had Great Khali that year as well, and then Wade Barrett, Sin Cara, Goldust. What's that other?
Think
guy?
of how
Dusty
long
Rhodes.
you stood in line that whole weekend combined, and then think of how many more years after that you still went to Access. That's crazy.
And that's what I was gonna add too. Like people go to Access for the wrestlers to meet them. Once you've done a lap or two around the thing to see the memorabilia, it doesn't get boring, but like it gets repetitive, because for the most part they have the same thing over and over again. Sometimes they'll add new gimmicks here and there, like the Raw stage or whatever, but for the most part it's the same thing. And that's why, especially towards the end, I remember Mania 32, I was in, and I was out. Just met the 3 guys I wanted to meet, and I left, because it's like, you can only see the same stuff over and over so many times.
Well, there's obviously a big thing that I'm sure we're getting to, the meat of the trip.
That's why we're here. WrestleMania. Yeah. You can go first. Your experience walking in. Did we have any problems getting in the building? No.
Well, that was your first Mania. I think you should tell us what you thought going into the stage.
Talk about it before when The Rock was. Well, remember we parked the car? Was that during Access?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was during Access. We parked that car across the street from. Was it at the gas station or across the street from the gas station?
Yeah, it was at the Exxon gas station where the scavenger hunt was taking place.
We are chilling in Access, and I didn't have notifications on my phone, which I still to this day don't. The Rock commented, "Hey, meet me here, and you can meet me, whatever." And I remember Steve, and it was like 10 minutes after that he posted it. Hey, that's where we parked. But
No.
Okay, whatever.
Miguel said it. And I straight up looked at Miguel and was like, "Nah, man, that's not that's not it. No,
Crazy.
I'm wrong with everything. We could have met Rocket 28. We could have met Rocket 31, and both of them were my fault. No, I know,
buddy. Don't worry. I got a big lecture. I got a big thing coming for you when we get to that episode." I literally tell everyone, because everyone knows I like wrestling. They're like, "Who's one wrestler that you haven't met yet?" And I'm like, The Rock. Oh, you would think you've met The Rock. Buddy, I had the chance. But here's what happened.
I looked at my phone and was like, nah.
So
he had the chance to meet him multiplication times.
We didn't have any problems walking into WrestleMania, did we? I feel like we just parked the car, walked in. It was good, right?
We pretty much walked
this was
right
in Dallas.
right to a seat.
Our seats actually, I think out of all this WrestleManias we've been to, 27 was it wasn't bad seats, but it was definitely the quote unquote worst.
The worst seats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still,
sure.
even it being my first WrestleMania, you walk in and it's like that feeling of seeing the stage, knowing that you're not watching from your house, that you're there. It has that certain, like, it's a little bit cold in the arena too. I don't know if you guys noticed, like, for me walking in, there's like a little chill. Yeah. Everyone's like jittery, everyone's panicking. They're not panicking, but everyone's excited. You can feel the excitement in the air.
I do want to add one quick thing. They may have been the worst seats that we had as a group, but they also were the cheapest, because every year the seats just got more expensive and more expensive.
Well, how much? I remember $150 for those seats, right?
Yeah, something like that. I was like,
do you remember?
I thought it was a little less, like 120.
Okay, even better. Do you remember how much our seats were the year after? On the ticket, how much it says for 28?
I want to say like $900?
$850. US. Crazy. So, but yeah, walking in, it's like, that's what I tell everyone. One, I remember I had the camera in my hand, so I had my whole reaction on video. Not my view, but like a POV of it. And just walking in, it was like, I tell everyone that experience of seeing the stage for the first time and just like, holy smokes, like this is literally 4 days at that time is what we went for. It all culminated to that thing. We were there for, where'd Miguel go?
I'm still here.
Okay.
My eyes.
We came for Triple H versus The Undertaker. There was The Rock's return. And I remember just even talking about it, I get like goosebumps, because it's like, that's like you get the same feeling every time, but it's just like, you don't get that first feeling. Like, you know what you're going to expect. And walking in there for the first time, I had no idea what it was going to be like. I was excited. And just, yeah, like I tell everyone, I'm like, savor that moment, like cherish that, because it's like you're there and it's like, holy smokes. I know it sounds a little weird, people watching like, oh, you're such a geek, whatever, but no, man. You see that stage live in person, you take pictures, you're taking videos, and it lives on with you forever. It really does. Just that feeling, I can feel it, how I felt when walking in there.
I think it's probably just the word WrestleMania. Like when you see it in big letters, you're like, oh shit, like I'm here, like this is it. This is WrestleMania. You just seeing it in the letter, I don't know. It's just, it reaffirms that you're actually there. And it's like a constant pinching yourself moment. Yeah. You never forget you're walking in your first, for sure.
Yeah. And it's not like walking into a Raw or SmackDown. It's like you see that there's triple the amount of people, quadruple even at times. And it's first like the ring looks so far away, and then you look around you. I remember when that pyro goes off, everyone does that old shot of like the crowd all around you, and it's like, man, that sea of humanity all there for the same thing from all different countries, and just you being a part of that, it's like crazy experience. And it's like you feel part of it. Everyone's like one big happy family there. You're all there for the same thing, and that's the one thing about wrestling I can say that like I feel sets us apart from different I guess leagues or other sports where it's like we're all for one. Where in hockey it's like, you know, you got the Boston Bruins fans or you got the Leafs fans and they're kind of against each other. Where wrestling, it's all for one.
I'm glad you enjoyed
No
it.
matter who you're cheering for.
Seriously?
What?
Go on. No matter who you're cheering for.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad you enjoyed the show, Miguel. It was-
Oh, okay.
you didn't talk about when you first walked into Mania, even though it was your third WrestleMania. I mean, what was it like for you?
Well, I didn't know you guys hadn't gone yet. I think just the stage took me by surprise because it was so much better than the first Mania I went to. Was just a big star.
Yeah.
I don't think it was. Actually, I think it was better. I remember liking it more than 26's stage too. It was just like really like grand, for the lack of a better phrase. I thought like, okay, this is a Mania stage. This is like a big time stage, you know?
It's one of the all-time greatest WrestleMania stages. I'll put that up there in the top 10, easy.
Well,
Yeah,
What?
I agree. I
It
agree.
just had the letters up there. That's all it was. Did you like it just because it seemed like
The
the
ramp too.
entrance was bigger?
That was
I
the
don't.
The
first
ramp
year
I
they had
remember.
the shiny ramp.
The fucking blue letters, the big spider thing, the shiny
Mhm.
ramp. I mean, it was fucking extravagant.
I don't
I feel
remember
like that
any
was one
spot.
of the last WrestleManias without like a real gimmick to it. It was just like WrestleMania because I remember the year after they started doing the palm trees. 29 they had the Empire State Building. 30 was
Yeah.
the New Orleans. Right, it was one of the last WrestleManias that were like just WrestleMania for what it was.
Yep.
But like a WrestleMania 31 with the play sign, WrestleMania play button. You know, it was just a gimmick. WrestleMania became a gimmick after I feel like that WrestleMania.
Yeah.
30 was
You know
like
what?
Mardi Gras style.
Yeah,
You don't want anybody to know how old it is. That's why.
That's
Vince
true.
is getting all like, oh.
So who was saying, I think it was Steve, that the Triple H versus Undertaker match is like one of your favorite of all time?
Yeah, easy.
Crazy.
Well, just remember Steve with the defeated look on his face. Triple H lost.
I thought he was gonna beat him. I really thought he was gonna beat him. It was closer than anybody else that ever come before. I don't give a shit what you say about those Shawn Michaels matches. They're good, but never did you think that Michaels was ever gonna beat him. Every single thing that set
I did.
I just every single time Taker was down, I thought it was over.
The tombstone was what did it for me. I remember I had that on video as well where he did the tombstone tongue out and everything. And everyone was hoping for that 3 count, and that was like the first like real close 2 count that I experienced, and just like everyone.
And the first real moment that everybody was like, okay, this is fucking WrestleMania. Because
Seriously.
up until that point, I wouldn't say the matches sucked, but nobody, you look around, nobody was like, oh man, I need a break from all these bangers of matches, you know? Like everyone was just kind of like, yeah, it's a pay-per-view, but that match just woke everybody up.
That whole card, though, looking back on it, like it was okay, but it wasn't anything to like write home about. Like if that wasn't my first WrestleMania, and you know, let's say this is WrestleMania 32, and you switch those cards around, I probably would have debated like, oh, you know, maybe I'll skip this one.
It really should have been Punk and Cena that year, but you know, The Miz got the spot.
Sure. And then The Rock coming back. I know Luke was always been a big Rock fan.
Yeah, it was, and he closed out the show, I think, right? So, yeah.
I was watching that clip back when he gave Cena the rock bottom and Miz pinned him.
Yeah.
And Stone
that
Cold
main
was there too.
event
That was another thing. When I remember that first altercation, it was on the Titantron. I remember that's the first time like I had a big pop where I think it was Eve Torres or someone, like whoever was standing behind me, whatever, and he turns around and Austin's standing behind him. I remember big Mark. I took my camera, started taking pictures of the Titantron. I snapped that picture. That's what I'm doing. And then that was the first time I saw Steve Austin live, I believe. I'm pretty sure it was, yeah. Saw him live when he was a special guest referee. So great. Saw Rock, Austin, all in the same night. First WrestleMania.
Austin was there because Tough Enough is coming back.
Yeah.
That's what.
And because he was the
there for.
referee of the Lawler Michael Cole match.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add to WrestleMania? Oh, the picture. That's what I wanted to talk about. So, I don't know about you guys. I regret that picture so much. And I remember Luke called me out on it, and I thought, like, what the hell is this guy talking about? So, Cena lost, and we were all in our... No, I was in my Cena shirt. Luke was in his Rock shirt. Miguel was in his live via satellite shirt.
No. Luke's holding his Rock shirt.
As a sign, yeah.
Okay, well, what shirt? Okay, anyway. So we were all Team Cena, and then Luke was Team Rock. So we're like, Luke will be happy, Miguel and Steve will be mad. Or is it Miguel, Steve, and me will be mad, yeah. Steve has this hat, about to slam his hat. Miguel with a little pouty face. Luke's happy.
No, I was like this. Oh, no.
Were you?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember. Okay, maybe.
I was like this. Oh, shit.
But me, I was very similar, but what I did was I covered my whole hand, and I looked down. So you can't see my face. I'm literally, if someone can be like, oh, that's not you, like literally. And I remember Luke said that when he looked at the picture, he's like, why would you cover your face? And I thought about it, and I'm like, what's this guy talking about? And looking back on it, I show people, yeah, these are my WrestleMania pictures. Like, look, I covered my face in my first WrestleMania. Biggest regret is that thing.
Oh my god.
But that picture, I remember I was so excited. I got that picture printed. I got my flight from Toronto to Birmingham framed along with the ticket. And that stayed single for like years and years until I took it apart and then I made the WrestleMania shelf. That was the first of many group pictures. I don't even know whose idea that was to take like a group picture together.
I thought it was yours.
It might have been, but can you imagine if we didn't like... Because I remember I've been to shows prior to that and, you never took group pictures together. And I feel like that was, the start of something. At least a huge collage for me and like that's a big piece of my room.
So, you want to get to the crime scene?
Yeah, we'll start with day 5. And we'll start with the animal signing first. Miguel. This is what Miguel was looking forward to, I remember, because it was one of his favorite tag teams. He was very hyped to be there. We got a decent amount of sleep. Steve in his big-ass box. I remember that.
I don't think I brought the box to the animal signing.
I feel like
all I had was the encyclopedia.
I think you did, Breach.
Pretty sure you did.
Oh. I don't think I would bring a box into a store. I think I did have a figure.
I wouldn't put it past you.
And I remember with me, a lot of people were telling me that Animal wasn't signing like LOD, like classic superstars. There's something weird with it. Like he wasn't signing like certain things.
He was only signing the book.
The book, yeah. So I was already worried. I'm like, I came here, I have this, whatever. I feel like I met him first or Steve met him first, whatever, but it was great. He was a very nice guy, and I didn't really know what to really say to him. And I remember he got inducted the day before as well, versus the week before the Hall of Fame. And I remember I talked to him about the action figure when he put the Hawk LJN on the podium. And a great moment still. And then Miguel went up and he did the signature pose. And I remember that.
No, I didn't meet him that year.
Oh, so okay, Steve then.
Steve did that, yeah.
He's your favorite tag team, and you never met him?
He didn't. No. He didn't want to buy. He didn't want to buy the book because it was later on in the trip. I remember I even offered to buy the book for him, and he was like, "No, I can't do that. But I felt bad that Miguel didn't meet Animal. He didn't meet him until like 32.
Yeah, I remember at one WrestleMania you met him, and I know you did the same pose as well as Steve did. So what's the deal? 10 years later, spill the beans.
I honestly think I just ran out of money because I think I had I budgeted my money of like what it was gonna be like. This is for merch. This is for ROH. This is for this and that. And I don't know. I think along the way I just I spent it, and I don't know. It was only I think like $25 or $30 for the book, so it wasn't the fact of buying the book, but I'm just a very strict person. Like if I spent the money, I spent the money. Like I'm not gonna go back home spending money that I don't need to be spending or that I shouldn't be spending, in other words. But I mean, at the end of the day, I still got to meet him, which is cool. But yeah, I was pretty bummed that
I would
didn't
imagine
meet him that weekend.
I honestly don't. I remember it, and I was kind of coming back to me, and I think I I think any of us would have pitched in for the book for you. Like, it's not like a big deal. Like, we know.
No, yeah, you wanted to buy it for me. And that's all. I was like, no. I was like, no, it's all good.
So
But
you don't
yeah.
regret it looking back on it. You don't. I guess you ended up meeting him at the end anyway. But
Yeah, if I hadn't though, I would definitely say I regretted it.
Wow.
I only don't because it ended well.
yeah,
I remember walking into the bookstore and seeing him up, kind of walking around. You could see his head over the aisles, and like he had his face painted. I don't know why I didn't think he wouldn't paint his face, but because he did, man, I fucking like marked out. Like, he painted his face. Like, yeah, it's gonna be fucking awesome. I knew that was gonna be a good picture going into it.
there wasn't that many people there either. I remember, and we were all very quiet. I remember he told us to like, lighten up or like start making some noise. We're like, we're in a
Yeah.
bookstore.
You just see this
And then
walking in the door.
Luke, did you meet him?
No, I just went, yeah, there's Road Warrior Animal right there. That's cool.
Okay, so it was only me and Steve.
He read the Jericho book. He like sat on a bench and read the book.
Yeah.
And he like told us all these like things out of there. He's like, I can't get home. You wait home. Can't wait to get home to buy this book and like read the rest of it. He got
Which
hooked.
book was it, Luke?
Uh,
Undisputed? No,
I think-
Lion still?
Undisputed came out in 2012, so it was Lion's Tale, I think, yeah.
So I actually just finished reading that just before 20. It was a great book. I read the Lion's Tale, I read the Young Bucks book, and I'm like three quarters done Undisputed. I started reading all my wrestling books, and they're actually pretty good. I'm like, damn, I never knew books were this good. I know how to
What
read.
about Brett?
Brad Evander, fuck that, it's too long.
I read it twice. It's
Really?
great. Yeah.
So the next one on my list was Death of WCW or Controversy Creates Cash. One of
Death
the
of WCW is an audio book, so you can listen to it like a podcast. It's like 9 hours.
yeah, but actually like the actual physical like reading it. That's the thing.
Oh.
What you should do, Ravi, like start the book, and every single time they're going through it and they bring something up, go fucking watch it on the network. So
That's what I
like
do.
you have all that shit in your. Oh, okay, never mind. I'm sorry.
Even when I
I've
read
always
the
thought
Jericho
that was a
book,
good idea.
There was one thing that he talks about in his book. I remember, and I went and I YouTubed it. And I was like, wow, like this. I didn't even know this thing was part of it. Did you read the Road Warrior book, Steve? Or was it the
Yeah, I
Goldust
got
book?
it.
There was
I
one
read
book
the
you read.
Goldust book
That
on
was
the
the-
way. I bought the Goldust book at Access because I was in the line, and they were literally walking up and down the aisle selling them for like $10. So I was like, I'll buy it, and when I meet him, I'll be good. And I didn't get to meet him because that line was so long to meet him and Dusty. I read it on the way home. There's a line in that book that I still think about on a daily basis about how he thinks what it means to be a father. That like still hits me. Like that was a really good book. It's a really good wrestling book that I got more out of it that wasn't about wrestling than I've got at any other book. That like he had his issues, he got over them, and he's just trying to be a good guy. Oh, what a good guy!
All right, let's talk about the crime scene. Let's just jump right into it. We've talked about this 100 times. I think me and Steve have made multiple videos because they cash in pretty well.
Yeah, just say the bullet points. Because at this point, I think we've gone over the
talked
story
about it
so
a
many
lot.
times.
The ride there was creepy as hell.
Yeah.
Never forget how the forest will go for 5 minutes, and then in 5 minutes north, 10 minutes south, and then it just opens up.
Yeah.
Then we pull up. We see the house thanks to Luke and his investigative skills. He found the address, everything. We looked, and it was literally like watching CNN. You saw the big window, you saw the blue roof, whatever it was. And then you start having those second doubts, like this is like real now. And I remember Steve made a 3-point turn because our car was facing this way, so we went facing in front of the house, got out, and you guys can take it from there.
We were the only car there, which I'm glad we went when we went.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't the only ones to go that weekend, though, as the person told us at the door.
Right.
Did we already had the idea that we were going to go to the doorbell, we were going to ring the doorbell and hopefully get a house tour. We wanted to take footage inside the house. That was like on the original plan. And
we were prepared to pay them.
We were. And
Yeah.
so...
That was back in the day before there was money in YouTube, by the way. You just wanted
That's
to
true.
get in there to get in there.
So Steve, why? I don't remember why. Oh, we needed someone to film us walk up, right? So you volunteered to stay back and film.
Oh no! I was.
That's not what happened.
Okay, I don't
to
remember.
make the walk to the door, and all of a sudden Luke grabs my arm and he's like, "Hey, you shouldn't go up there. That's too many people. Just have Ravi and Miguel go, and if they need us, then we'll go up there." And I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds fair." So I'm trying to put the camera on top of the car so I don't have to hold it. So I'm filming you guys walk to the door. And I finally get it set, and it's not going to fall over. And I take my hand off, and if I take my hand off, I'm like, 1, 2, 3. And I look, and I'm like, that motherfucker Luke told me to say, and he's up there on the porch. Like, what is this about?
I can't tell you. I'm sorry. But nothing stopped you from. You could have just said, "Oh, fuck him, I'm going." You could have, and you did eventually go on the property. So.
So the thing is, Steve wouldn't have turned around. That's
and then Luke got up there. The moment was too much for him, so I think we just knocked on the door, and then he was like, "Fuck this," and he turned around.
He literally walked up the step and then just made a U-turn and just went right back.
I didn't want to get yelled at. Like, get the fuck out of here, you marks! Like, no. I didn't want that.
So I think in the video, like the Steve's angle of the video when he filmed us, you could see someone open the drapes and kind of look to see who it is. And someone answered the door. It was that young kid, right?
He was the oldest, but yeah, he was like, he looked like he was, yeah, it was like 17, 20s? 18.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, it was really young.
He came out. Remember, he kind of slid through. I don't know if you remember. He didn't open the door all the way.
Yeah.
He kind of opened it halfway and slid through and closed the door behind him.
Mm-hmm.
He told us that we weren't the only ones to come that weekend. And I don't remember what else he said. Before the fact. Yeah, go ahead.
They know that there's a big wrestling event in town. That's why there are a lot of people are coming. And that that he would like if we could just take pictures and then move along. And we're like, okay, so it's cool. At this point, I think me and Ravi were just like, okay, let's not even ask about going.
We got
inside.
the hint, yeah.
Yeah, so then we just like, okay, so just to make sure we asked, like, is it okay we take pictures from like on the other side of the fence? He's like, yeah, that's fine. But after that, that would be it if that's okay.
I
And
remember
like,
the line
yeah.
was, you guys can take pictures on your way off the property. Is what
That, there you go.
Something like that. He wanted us to leave, as he said.
He
Get
was
the hell out of
not,
here,
like,
take as many pictures as you want.
He could have and fully within his right, like chewed us out, but he was really nice. So I know it sounds like he was a dick, but he actually was really cool about it.
Well, I mean, you got to put it in thing like, what would you do if some random guy just showed up at your house and be like, hey?
Oh, and he also, I remember he said, because I don't know, maybe he just didn't want us to like keep talking or whatever. He said that his little brother was asleep inside.
Yes.
So he didn't want any noise. And I was like, okay. I think that's when we and him were like, okay, let's not even ask if we can go inside.
And that was also the realization. This is, I guess, when we pulled up first of how quiet that area was in general. Like, I remember Luke was saying, like, you literally hear like a pin drop. And there was a little river across the street where I remember Luke again, oh, Chris probably took Daniel to that little river across the street, like whatever. And Chris Benoit walked up these steps, like, coming home after a tour, and he probably had, Jericho, Chavo, Eddie, they all came over to this house, and a lot of history. This is where the ambulance was. This is probably where they wheeled the bodies down. This is, that's the side door that, he said was open in the shed or whatever. Just little things like that, and that you're standing on the property where, I think it was Steve who said it, like, changed wrestling forever, this event or whatever. It's historic. And I feel like there are videos on YouTube of people going, but I don't think a lot of them got as much recognition as ours. And it's funny because there's one guy I work with, he watches wrestling. And I know I told you guys a story, and he was telling us about this crazy guy, this crazy group of fans who went to the Chris Benoit house. And he showed me the video. I'm like, keep watching, bro. And it was Steve's video. I'm like, keep watching. And I'm just waiting for the realization to hit. When he showed me, and I pressed pause, I'm like, you know what that is? And he's like, oh, shit. I'm like, yeah. And his face like went pale. He's like, bro, I used to watch you guys like when I was like a thing. And I'm like, yeah, there you go.
So he saw Luke turn around?
He saw everything. And it was one of those things.
Two things. Now that you mentioned that, Miguel, I think it was Steve's video, the one with over 100K or 200K. A lot of people were calling me a pussy in the comments section. Number 2, there was someone claiming to be that kid's aunt and saying, like, that was my nephew who answered the door, and I didn't appreciate, you guys doing that and blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
So,
I don't remember reading that.
I do, and I was like, see, I told you someone would be mad at us.
Yeah. So after I remember I took a picture with just me in the house in the back. I don't know, did you guys take any pictures of yourself?
Oh.
No, we don't have to. Buddy, let's not talk
We don't
about
have to do that.
I'm kidding. You think, come on.
I was waiting for that. I'm like, who's gonna
No.
You fucking serve that to me on a silver platter. Right?
Did you guys
We
take
took
pictures?
rocks.
We do. Let's get to the merch stand after.
The merch.
Who was it that was trying to get a piece of your rock, Ravi? And you're like, no, I'm taking this whole thing.
It was Luke. He's like, because Luke's like, that thing's huge. Can we just? Was it? No, it was you. You're like, that's a little big. Why don't we just like break it in pieces?
Oh, I thought you meant at the hotel when Steve tried to steal your fucking rock.
That was after
did not
Steve.
try to steal.
It ended up in his
rock.
bag. And I've never
It
been so
did
tempted.
not. It was.
Oh.
It was in.
It just grew
the
legs
box
and
of
walked into his
Rockstar.
bag.
No, it wasn't in a bag. It was in a case of Rockstar.
You pulled a legend killer at the TNA show when you took my AJ Styles figure.
Oh man. And the ones from the basement.
Okay. That's enough. So that was the rod. And the thing is, that rock, like, still, I guess me. Who else took something? Was it just me?
I did. I took a rock too.
I know Luke took the rock and you got rid of it. I remember you told me.
In 2016, I threw it into a pond.
Dumbest idea thing of yours. I don't know. And Miguel, where's your rock chilling?
It's in one of my Mania cups that has like a bunch of ticket stubs and confetti from when Daniel Bryan won the title.
Is it like a pebble or is it like a good size?
No, it's like a good size, probably like a baseball size.
Oh, okay, that's good then. And Steve, nothing. What?
Well,
I got no rock.
You got no rock. You're probably waiting.
on, my hearing aids on the fritz.
Anything else from the Benoit house? Oh, the ride back. We were followed by those people. I feel like some of you guys don't remember this, but I remember it very well.
Yeah, the truck.
I only remember it because you're the only one that saw him. That's how I remember.
Steve remembers.
Yeah, I remember because Ravi was like, "Oh, they're coming! They were coming."
They were coming, and they're a hot pursuit. They were, and
They're probably not used to anybody else being on that road. And I mean, I was probably going a good 20, 25. They're probably used to hauling like 50 miles an hour down that thing.
probably.
well, it turned out to be Kevin Sullivan in the truck.
Oh,
God.
Also, do you remember on the way there, Steve played Chris Benoit's theme?
Yeah,
It was very morbid.
I thought that was you, and you even played the good one. You played the fucking 2000 one. It was
Yeah, did I? Okay, wasn't me. Oh, whatever. Morbid me, I guess. Whatever. I'll take it.
The worst theme.
And then we went. So we dropped Paz off. So I remember Monday was a very busy day because we were very strapped for time. We had to animals. So we dropped Paz off. Animal signing Benoit house. We went straight to Raw.
Subway.
Sure, Subway.
Subway.
Yeah,
we already gone through that.
And then we went to Raw, which the match, I think the two things I remember was Rock and Cena being called 1 year in advance. And then the tag team match that we just took, Raw was very average, I remember. It wasn't like the Raw after Manias that we're used to.
You don't remember?
what are you talking about? The Core went out there and beat the hell out of Cena and Rock, baby. The Core, they took him down.
Really?
Do you remember?
Yeah, the Core fed in all their moves.
Okay. Where are we going to say?
Austin beating up The Miz and Alex Riley. We got an Austin Thez press and everything.
That was at the beginning. I
remember.
We're the tough enough people, right? And then Miz came out. Yes, I remember that.
That was cool.
And yeah, the tag team match. It was we were talking about. It was Ray and Orton versus Punk and Cody. And we just it was more Miguel. I think I didn't really freak out as much. But Miguel was that famous picture of your face, you just hands up in the air.
Yeah, because I remember I was like, man, this is the last show of the weekend. Like, this is the last event, period, that we're doing over the weekend. and it was dull. And I think I looked at Luke and I was like, we should just go with the flow that all these little kids around us, and let's just get lost in the match. Let's just cheer for the faces, boo for the heels, and just pretend like kayfabe is dead. Well, I mean that it's alive. I'm sorry. And then we're just, I don't know, we had a great time. It was the best, worst match ever.
It was.
What we did was we just took the piss out of everything, and it made it so much funnier. Just to make fun of it.
Just shows how something, like getting excited like that just turned the whole match around, the whole show. Because that's, I remember this 10 years later. I still remember that match.
Yeah.
And we knew the finish was coming. That's why we were like, what? Dude! Like, we played it out perfectly.
And Rock and Cena getting announced, and I'm pretty sure we all said, like, okay, next year, I'll see you guys next year.
Sin Cara's debut?
I hated the fact that they announced that match so early because I didn't think I was going to be able to go, and that was the only reason why I hated on it.
I remember on Twitter, I'm pretty sure we tweeted, like, oh, see you next year, Miami, something stupid like that. And everyone responded. Destin, I remember, responded. I don't know why I remember him out of all people. Oh, guys, I'm going to go. And there was a whole slew of people just, like, down to go.
Hey, he ended up going.
Did he? Okay, there you go.
Yeah, he did. We met his dad.
Okay, there you go. But there was and we were, at that time, right, Twitter was, like, crazy at that time. And everyone wanted to go. And it's funny to see, like, how many people actually ended up going 1 year after. And I was like, wow, looks like I'm going to go to Miami next year. And so after Raw, there was, the gods were very mad, or there was something, but they unleashed a hurricane, a crazy thunderstorm.
Oh, that was the worst.
You're underselling this.
It was something. Okay, go ahead.
Underselling it so much. There was rain pouring. We were lost. We didn't know where Steve was. He had the keys to the car. There was people running everywhere. We were trying to get re-entry to the building so we can get trash bags to cover ourselves. They wouldn't give us any. Ravi bought a Cena hat just so he wouldn't get sick. He tried to get the brand new Sin Cara shirt. That was sold out. Then I remember we managed to get trash bags from one of the janitors at the arena. And then Luke and I think you were still with us at that point. We slipped them on. We ran towards the parking lot, and then we ended up catching Steve, who was shirtless with hard nips.
Oh, yeah, true. So I'm surprised. Like, I had no sense of direction because the wind was blowing so hard and the rain was, like, unpaired. Like, I've never seen a crazy thing like that.
It was bad. And then Steve drove in that same storm.
So I don't know where Steve went. Steve went on his own. He was at the park. It was a parking garage, I think, right? Or was it a parking lot? It feels like a garage. So I was just following you guys because I don't know how you guys knew where we were going, but I was just running along. And I feel like it was, like, it felt like we were running forever, at least, like, 5 minutes. It wasn't one of those things like it was across the street. I had no idea where we were. But I do remember the hard nips now that you mentioned it. But, man, that was crazy. And I feel like, holy smokes.
And then it got even crazier because then he starts driving, and then Ravi's blasting Lady Gaga in the car.
That's true.
And then it's really bad. At one point, Steve, I remember, he said, I don't think I can see. Yeah. And I was just like, that's not what I want to hear from the guy that's driving our car right now. And then the exit, right before our exit, there was a car flipped over next to the ramp. Yeah. And we looked at it and we're like, okay, we got to get fucking home now because this is a sign. We're going to die if we don't get off this road. That was crazy.
And I feel like we were even debating to pull over for a while, no?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it was, like, at that point, I feel like it was probably more safe than driving.
We
driving
pitched
super
it.
slow as well. And the wiper blades were going so fast, and I remember you couldn't see anything. And we still managed to get home. By the time we got to the hotel, I'm pretty sure the rain had stopped. Mm-hmm. Right? But yeah. And it's weird, though, because when it rains like that over here, that thing lasts for maybe 2 to 5 minutes max. Like 5 minutes is even pushing it. But that that storm went on for at least a solid 15 to 20 minutes, maybe even half an hour.
Oh, it sure seemed like it.
Seemed like it, for sure.
And Miguel, this is random. Only Miguel remembers it. Remember the guy at the front desk? He was toned low because what we compared him to, I think, Juice. From Blank Check.
Yeah. I remember.
Blank Check. Do the impression. What was the thing like? I don't care about you. What was it?
Oh, no, he talked like this with a little raspy voice.
No, what was the line?
I don't care about no no birds, no eagles landed. And he's like, and I certainly don't know nothing about no chicken in the pot.
Check people.
It's funny though because like we had that experience and it was pretty scary. And then as soon as we got to the hotel, I think we all had like a sense of relief that we made it. And then we all packed our shit, and that's when we signed the pants. And then we drank first because we were trying to kill the rest of the beer that we had in the fridge. And see, this is another one of your inconsistencies with your stories that I never drink on mainnet trips because I drink a lot that weekend.
Drink 2.
And you know how I know? Because I remember you had to hide the picture of all the bottles from Jade. You were like, you were FaceTiming her or something? You were FaceTiming her, and then it's reached it. And then she was like, oh, did you guys drink all those?
They called him and gave him a lecture in the morning for the Undertaker graveyard of Budweiser bottle.
She was saying you have to fly out, and you're like, probably, yeah, I remember that afterwards. So actually, funny story, that was the first time that I actually got, I don't think I got drunk, but I definitely got buzzed. And that was the first time I got buzzed in my life, was with you guys.
That walk to Waffle House, you definitely had some swagger in that walk.
I remember. I remember I went in my Mario pajamas too. That's how half gone I was.
Mm-hmm.
And we packed up our stuff. I don't think we had a match. The match came the year after, in 28.
Yeah.
28 was more happy times. And then we went home. I don't even remember when we left. We drove back to Atlanta. We didn't go. Remember going into we stopped for gas at that Birmingham gas station.
Yeah, you guys dropped me off, and then you guys went.
There was a guy sitting on the rocking chair in front of the gas station, and I walked in with my Ed Hardy, spiky hair, everything. I'm going to die today. I am dead. And went home, and that was it. I don't remember much of the last day, but going home. But it was crazy. I couldn't wait till next year. I had so much fun for my first trip. I was so glad that I went. And I was like, man, now the countdown begins to next year.
And you know what?
Uh-huh.
The crazy thing about it is that I think looking back on it, and of course hindsight is 2020, but I think I liked this trip more than the Dallas trip. That's how much I thought.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the Dallas trip was like, we beating that to a dead horse, but it's not that it was like the worst possible trip ever, but it definitely did not feel like my money was spent well. Like I didn't get enough value back for what I spent for that trip. And Atlanta, I would definitely not hesitate to say it. That trip delivered. May or may not have delivered as much, but at least I had that one match that I can take away.
I feel like we were a lot younger at that time too. It was, you're comparing 27 to 29, 31, about 4 years, 5 years difference.
Uh-huh.
So I feel like we were, a lot of things had changed in those 5 years with all of us. So I feel like we were more, I want to say,
we grew with you,
stress-free. Yeah, I remember we had the Kliq suite. Yeah. So 27, I feel like we were more like, we were all kids, 10 years. It's crazy. But no, I even talking about this now, I was forgetting, damn, that was a damn good trip. A lot of things happened at that trip that 10 years later we still talk about to this day. Yeah. And a lot of WrestleManias don't have that. And maybe going through it and talking about it, it's going to come one by little by little.
The one thing I think about this trip more than anything else is that we learned how to do it. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. You guys had Miguel had 2 under his belt. Me and Luke had 1 under our belt. But, I mean, the one thing, besides sort of going to those ROH shows, we stayed inside the WWE bubble. That's what we knew, and that's basically what we did. I remember thinking that the people that went to Wrestle Reunion were out of their mind, mostly because I didn't have a clue what the hell it was. And I was like, why would you leave Access? And then,
it wasn't a good
soon to be, I just remember the buzz that Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Hawes were selling 8x10, saying, don't worry, Kurt Angle's coming. He's going to be here soon. And that's what everybody was like, oh, Angle's going to come, man. Angle's going to come. We got to get this 8x10. And I remember hearing those rumors, but I just, remember, didn't somebody get caned by New Jack or some shit like that, too? I don't know, but I just remember
went to Wrestle Reunion because of that.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. And I just remember thinking, they're out of their minds. Why are they going to want to, hang around some, I thought it was, in, the like the entrance, like not even in a ballroom. I thought it was just like in the opening of a fucking like hotel. Like they'd all just set up tables or some shit like that. But the next year we would go to our first one and like, wow, I mean, it's not Access, it's not pretty, but I mean, you can meet a lot of fucking people here that you can't meet anywhere else.
But look how much it evolved from wrestle. Like I don't even know how 27 was, but 28 I remember compared to
Dennis Rodman was there. Dennis Rodman was at
and I wish I would have met him.
Yeah.
Compared to how AEW does them now, it's like that thing we saw the beginning of it, and now to see how much, and they're the same thing. They learn, do this instead of this, and each year it keeps getting better and better. Just like our Mania trips, we knew, now add an extra day or two on it and make the most out of the trip. Do more things inside of WWE.
Luke has like body language right now, like he's ready to clear his name against like sexual assault accusations or something.
Probably wants to talk about the cheesecake incident.
Oh God. We were drama free for this entire thing.
Okay,
let's not go there.
You got me back for what I said earlier. That's fine. Well, I will say this feels like our end of an era match. I mean, I'll be 30 in August. Steve will be 60. It feels like this is kind of like the last. I don't know. I mean, who knows when we're gonna get together like this again, huh?
28.
Oh,
we have to talk about WrestleMania 28. Still a lot.
We have more.
yeah, there are more. But
Never
still,
mind.
even thinking that, but like I remember I talked about this on the last thing when you bailed 100 times. But no, like when the next time we'll all actually be in the same room together and not over Skype. And Chicago was the last time I saw Steve, and that was a year ago, just about over a year ago.
Well, it sounds to me like it's going to be due to an AEW show.
I feel like I mean, WrestleMania in Hollywood is actually sounding pretty cool to me. That was my original
Justin said he's done with that though, right?
Buddy, where's Justin now? Just that we'll see. Like I know, I was messaging TJ and he was saying I feel like there's gonna be one more trip that like everyone's gonna go on, and that's gonna be like we'll know that's gonna be like the last one. I feel like 34 wasn't that last one. There's gonna be like one more.
Every fucking Mania trip I went on, I said it was my last one. There's never gonna be a last one.
There's never gonna be a last one.
Oh, never a time.
And I think that this 27 trip set the standard, I think, for how WrestleMania, people going and experiencing, because everyone knows me and us, I think, for our WrestleMania videos. Whenever they talk about our things, I love your vlogs, your Access thing taught me this, whatever. So our YouTube, I guess, careers, let's say, was really built on these trips. And I feel like we're kind of, at one point, almost obligated to go on these trips because people kind of expected it from us. For at least the first, from WrestleMania 27 to about 30 or 31.
Well, maybe they can click on another video or two here or there along the way and get me there. All right?
I'll close my final thoughts with this. I was at WrestleMania 34. What was it? Wherever Shawn Michaels was signing. Ravi, we were.
Yeah, we were. I remember I lost my voice. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was there where some guy stopped me and said, like, I first started going on Mania trips because of you guys. Like, I saw your Mania 27 vlogs, and like that made me want to go. And I don't know. That's just really. I had never been told that ever. That like we inspired people to go out and get their friends together and go have fun.
Yeah.
And we kind of were like the first that I know of, the first ones to do that on YouTube. And it was surreal to hear that. I'm like, we were just having fun and doing our thing.
Seriously, and that's what I mean. It set like the standard for like what it is to like the whole experience in of itself. And I know the old YouTube gang did it before, but I guess they didn't film as much, and it obviously didn't,
They're not as out there. I know who you're talking about. They're more like low key. Like they have like a tighter circle, and it's strictly like wrestling discussion. I think because we're all a bunch of goofballs that everyone, it's easier to relate.
Yeah.
And I think people looked at us and they're like, the fuck, we always talk about how we're gonna meet up. Like these guys do it every year. Like I'm pretty sure it's not that hard. And I think once people look into it, well, it's not as expensive as I thought.
Yeah. And even looking to this day, like people ask me all the time, you're about your wrestling friends or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I have my guys I met online. I go to WrestleMania with them every year, and a lot of the time I look more forward. Yeah, seriously,
Do you say it like that? My guys I met online.
I have. That's what
yeah.
And I look more forward to meeting with them than I do with people over here, because it's like these are the guys that I can go and just like chill and not have a worry in the world, even though it's for a week every 2, 3, 4 years. It's like, wow, what a blast. And it goes by so fast. That's the other thing I realized which I can talk about. When you know the Hall of Fame is over, it's like, oh shit, WrestleMania's there, and then Raw, and that's it. I remember Hall of Fame was always that day.
Sunday morning is the worst fucking feeling. You're like, yeah, we have this show, but then we're gonna come home and we're gonna pack, and we got Raw, and then it's basically already on the airplane.
Everyone packing their stuff is like the most depressing thing, you know.
It goes by so fast, Ravi.
It
you
does.
Get there, and before you know it, it's Muffle Out of Monday.
Muffle. Exactly. But see, that's
until we get to 34.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But, all right, this is good. Nice hour and a half talking to you guys.
Don't worry, whoever's watching this, we get fucked up way more in the other ones. There's a lot more to tell.
And I had a killer joke that you fucking ruined, Miguel, in the first clip. Thanks a lot about Paz not being here.
We love you, Paz. You still send me snaps here and there.
Everyone throw it up. We got a 2 sweet.
Okay, let me get this.
I thought it was you're not over unless you're under.
Luke's not about that. Luke's not about that.
It's the dumbest fucking thing.
Throw it up. I'm gonna get
Luke.
this.
I'm with you.
Throw it up. All right. Okay, guys. I'll see you.
Remember, Luke.